While retirement can be filled with lots of incredible experiences, if you're not careful, it can also be filled with lots of regrets. Retirement regrets and what you can do to avoid them is exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. And this isn't your standard, oh, I wish I'd saved more regret video. This is a video where I'm going to walk you through common purchases retirees make and end up regretting, and many of these purchases are things that people actually look forward to most in retirement. What you'll find though is that the joy or happiness people are expecting from some of these purchases is not what actually turned out to be true. So let's jump in and start exploring the top 5 retirement regrets of purchases you'll wish you didn't make. The first thing I see many retirees regret purchasing is their dream home. And now this is somewhat ironic because the dream home is kind of that thing that so many of us set our sights on, not just in retirement, but throughout our lives. In fact, not too long ago, my wife and I, we had a date night where we said, let's create a vision board just to have fun with it. And you cut out pictures of these beautiful, gorgeous, big homes where you imagine raising a family, hosting friends, doing all these fun things. And whether we have that physically or just in our minds, I think a lot of us have that same type of a thing. That big, beautiful home is exactly what's going to bring us that happiness we're looking for. Now, there's nothing wrong with that big, beautiful home. And for many of us, that's one of the best purchases we've ever made. However, a lot of retirees, when they want to prioritize freedom, when they want to prioritize proximity to family or certain things that they look forward to, that dream home can end up being an anchor. That dream home can be something that becomes difficult to maintain. The costs of it end up pulling away from what you could have been spending money on in other areas that you would have enjoyed spending money on more. And while yes, it's a beautiful home that people get to show off to their friends, when they look at their budget and they say, here's how much is going to property taxes and maintenance and all the things I need to do to keep up with this home, here's what money cannot go to any longer. Maybe it can't go to fund those trips that we wanted to take. Maybe it can't go to funding some of the activities that we really envisioned ourselves doing in retirement. Maybe we can't provide that family support we hoped we were going to be able to throughout retirement. So nothing wrong with a big, beautiful home, but make sure that as you're exploring this, you're considering the trade-offs. And here's how I want you to think of those trade-offs, is when you look at what people are actually most happy with, it's not just the home, it's the community and the environment. So if this home is in a great community, in a great environment where you can be very happy living throughout your retirement, wonderful. But if this dream home is away from your community, away from your friends, away from your family, maybe it's not what you thought it would be at the time. You'll probably also want to prioritize proximity to things you enjoy doing or things that you'll need in retirement. This could be hiking, this could be golf, this could be grocery shopping, this could be medical facilities, hospitals, the things that you want to have proximity to make your life as great as it can be. If this home is away from those things, you might be sacrificing other aspects of your retirement that you really don't want to be sacrificing. So yes, get that home that would make you really excited, but don't underestimate the things about that home that would actually lead to better quality of life. Proximity to friends, proximity to family, proximity to things you enjoy doing in the community that you have. So nothing wrong with the home, but make sure that you're looking at the full picture. The second purchase I see many retirees regret is unnecessary insurance products. Now this one isn't necessarily a purchase per se because it's not like a vehicle or a car or a trip that you're purchasing, but it's still a purchase. It's a purchase that you are acquiring to protect yourself or your family or your possessions. Now, what do I mean by insurance products specifically in retirement? Because we all need insurance. We need the right coverage. Where I often see people regret their purchases is in annuities and long-term care insurance products. Not knocking those. I think those can be great parts of a well-balanced plan for many people. But you might need an annuity and still purchase the wrong one. You may need long-term care insurance, but still purchase the wrong policy with the wrong coverage. So I'm not knocking these insurance coverages, but make sure, first and foremost, do you need that and does that fit in your plan? And then secondly, are you purchasing the specific product that's best going to fill that need? It's possible that you need it and still purchase the wrong product. It's possible to have a great product, but you don't really need it in your specific plan. Now, the reason I say these are typically regrets is because so many of these purchases are driven by fear. Now, this fear is often instilled in people by the person selling them the product, the person selling the annuity, the person selling the long-term care insurance product, the person selling whatever it is. They're gonna sell it by drumming up fear. And now that fear may be well-based and it may be something that needs to be protected, but time and time and time again, I see people coming to us with these products that just don't quite fit into their plan. So yes, get the right insurance coverage, not just with annuities or long-term care insurance, but all of your insurance needs. But make sure that it's the right coverage and make sure it's the right product to meet your specific needs. The third purchase I see people regret in retirement is the investment property. Who doesn't love the idea of mailbox money? You walk down to your mailbox, figuratively, in most cases, the money's actually being direct deposited in your bank account, and you just have money show up. That's a dream that most people have, being able to collect that paycheck while they're off traveling the world or playing golf or spending time with their family. Now, the concept of investment property in theory can provide that. And in many cases in practice, it can also provide that. But in many more cases, it turns out to be a lot more work and effort and hassle than some people bargain for. And like I said with the insurance products, I'm not knocking investment properties. They can be a wonderful way to create income and cash flow, not just in retirement, but throughout your investing lifetime. What I will say though, is they're not passive. Rarely are they ever passive, even if you have a property manager. So if you haven't owned investment property throughout your lifetime, I'm not quite sure that retirement is the time for you to get into it. Here's what I will say about this. I know a lot of people who have lots of investment property and they absolutely love it. These are the same types of people that love purchasing properties, renovating them, spending a lot of time and blood and sweat and tears, making this into something that's very profitable, and they enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, and if you're willing to put the time and effort into it, the return on investment can be incredible. But if you don't enjoy it, and you're not willing to put the effort in, you're not willing to be patient for the return to play out, it might not be the best bet for you. And I see too many people as they're approaching retirement acquired investment property thinking that's their cash flow, that's gonna be the thing that cash flows their retirement, and they end up regretting it. Because the time, because the energy, because the mental bandwidth they now have to devote to this, that they can't be doing other things that they envision them be doing throughout their retirement. The fourth regret I see people make in retirement is financial gifts to adult children. So this is one where you gotta find a fine balance, because I'll talk a lot about how do you envision your retirement? What do you wanna do with your money? In many cases, that's I wanna support family. I wanna support children and grandchildren, which can be a noble, honorable thing. You have to balance that though, with it is possible to go too far. It is possible to enable, it is possible to limit the financial independence that your children or grandchildren are developing on their own by enabling too much. So how do you find that balance is part one. Number two, anytime you're going to make a gift to an adult child or grandchild or any family member for that matter, make sure you're being honest with yourself. I'll give you an example. I've had a few clients who've come to me and said, you know what, James, I want to buy an investment property. I say, okay, tell me more. Sounds like an investment property. What are you going to do with it? Well, I'm going to purchase this in a place where my children live, and you know what, they're actually going to live in the property. I say, okay, well, are they going to pay money in rent? Say, no, they're not going to pay money in rent. We're going to acquire the property, allow them to live in it, and it's our way of supporting them and also having an investment property. You can say, okay, that's a way of supporting your adult children, but I would not call that an investment property. If anything, that's a liability at this point. It's not generating cash flow, at least not as much as it could be generating, which means you're probably out of pocket each month in terms of property taxes, insurances, mortgage payments, maintenance, etc. So it's not an investment. Let's be honest about what this really is. We'll have that conversation and they'll come to the realization that, yeah, this truly is family support. And we'll say, are you willing to be gifting that much money to your family at this point? And sometimes they'll be okay with it. And sometimes we'll have the conversation that if you do that, that's completely fine. But here's what it means for your retirement plan. Here's what it means for how much less income you can create. And what's the tangible effect of that? Well, here's the trips that you might not be able to take anymore. Here's the lifestyle that you might need to cut back on because of this gift. And so there's this balance here. We can all fool ourselves very easily. And too often people will fool themselves into thinking, oh, this is an investment, when in reality, it's a gift to an adult child or grandchild that sometimes works out great, but sometimes doesn't. So number one, be honest with yourself. What is it truly that you're doing? If you're trying to play this off as an investment property or play this off as something that's an investment for you, is it really? It's the first question I'd ask. And then number two, to what extent is this going to support your child or grandchild, both financially and in terms of their own financial independence, in terms of their own just independence in general and self-sufficiency? And if you can balance those two things, gifting can be great. But if at any point you look at this and it's going to detract from your own plan in an unacceptable way, be mindful of that. And number two, if this is going to start to create the expectation or the entitlement on the part of an adult child or grandchild, ask yourself if this is something that's ultimately supporting them or if it's ultimately going to create harm and it's going to stunt their development and even lead to the potential of fractured relationships down the road. The fifth purchase I see people regret in retirement, and this might be the biggest surprise, is the trendy retirement destinations, the trendy travel destinations. Why do I say this one's a regret? Well, go on your phone right now. Go on Instagram, go on Facebook. What are you getting bombarded with all the time? Pictures of friends or people you don't even know in faraway places having a ball. They're on the beach in Hawaii. They're in Europe in some amazing destination. They're doing an incredible safari through Europe, and you're seeing this stuff saying, oh my goodness, the key to happiness is just being there. What you have to realize though is when we're scrolling Facebook all day or Instagram all day, we are literally just showing ourselves commercials over and over and over again. And commercials work. The commercials are transforming our mindset, saying, here's the key to happiness. Here's the thing that will unleash that freedom, that adventure, that excitement that you're looking for in retirement. Now, some of these places are amazing places, but if we let these things consume us, I've seen plenty of people that said, yes, all I need to do to finally enjoy my retirement, all I need to do to finally find that adventure, that excitement in my life, is go to the place this person on Facebook is at. Go to the place that this ad on Instagram is showing me. And then you go and you realize there's a difference between Instagram and reality, or Facebook and reality, or just the internet and reality. And again, nothing wrong with these places. Many of these are incredible places, but I find so many retirees or people in general will travel and they're ultimately let down, saying, okay, this isn't the thing that ultimately unlocked that magical happiness throughout retirement. So this comes back to the point of know thyself. Understand yourself and what is it actually that you care most about. If it truly is travel and that sense of adventure, do these things. I'm sure you've done them before and have had a blast doing them. But if that's not you, don't fall into the trap of thinking that spending more money on more vacations because you see them on social media is magically going to lead to that purpose and that excitement and that adventure that you're craving in your retirement. Now here's the good news. We don't have to spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on incredibly luxurious travel to ultimately find some of that adventure. So many people I talk to have just as much fun driving a couple hours up the road to the mountain where there's a beautiful hike along a creek, or driving to one of these less hyped locations and just spending time outside, spending time with friends. You can still travel, you can still do incredible things without having to spend a tremendous amount of money on it. Now, this purchase, just like all of them, there's always a little bit of nuance here. None of these things by themselves are bad. The dream home, the insurance product, the investment property, the supporting children, the travel, all of these things can be wonderful and they can lead to a more fulfilling, more exciting, more enjoyable retirement. But if we're just doing these things blindly, if we're just doing these things because we're told that we should be doing them, we might find that we get a bit let down. We might find that we're quite disappointed at best, and then sometimes create division among family or even spouses at worst. So understanding these common regrets and understanding yourself and what you enjoy and what you're most passionate about is the key to ensuring that your retirement is going to be filled with as much meaning and purpose and joy as it possibly can be. Now, one of the ways to best minimize regrets with your retirement spending is to actually understand how much you can spend throughout retirement. And one of the keys to helping us understand how much we can spend throughout retirement is what's the size of our portfolio. So if you take a look right here, I included a link to a video where I walk you through just that. When you look at your Social Security, your income sources, your portfolio value, how do you determine how much you might be able to spend so you can allocate that on things that are meaningful to you as opposed to spending it on things you might regret? Once again, I'm James Knoll, founder of Root Financial, and if you're interested in seeing how we help our clients at Root Financial get the most out of life with their money, be sure to visit us at www.rootfinancialpartners.com.